When NBA stars sign contracts worth hundreds of millions of dollars, most people picture private jets, supercars, and mansions bigger than hotels. But not every millionaire wants that life. Some of the richest black basketball players in history still live with the same habits they had before they became famous. They avoid showing off, spend carefully, and value family, discipline, and financial freedom over expensive toys. Today, we're counting down some wealthy black basketball players who live like average Joes. And trust me, one player near the top became a billionaire, yet was once mocked for refusing to spend just a few dollars. Let's get started. Tim Duncan earned hundreds of millions during his legendary NBA career.
Tim holding. Now starts his move, spinning, fadeaway jumper off the glass, it's good. The bank is open.
Beautiful, hold it up.
But fame never changed him. Instead of chasing luxury, Duncan preferred quiet evenings with family, video games, and working on cars. He avoided celebrity parties and expensive displays of wealth, earning a reputation as one of basketball's most humble superstars. But Duncan isn't the only NBA legend who ignored flashy living. Kawhi Leonard became famous for something unusual. Even after signing massive contracts, he continued driving an older Chevy Tahoe instead of buying an exotic sports car. He rarely wears flashy jewelry, avoids social media attention, and lives an incredibly private life. For Kawhi, basketball has always mattered more than looking rich. The next player proves that even billionaires can be surprisingly frugal. LeBron James has earned more than enough to buy almost anything he wants. Yet he once admitted he dislikes paying for apps and unnecessary subscriptions, something his teammates love teasing him about. It's a small habit, but it reflects a bigger mindset. LeBron spends freely when it comes to family, business, and investments, but hates wasting money just because he can. And speaking of smart money, Magic Johnson turned NBA success into an even bigger business empire. Instead of chasing expensive headlines, he invested in companies, real estate, and communities, becoming one of the wealthiest former athletes in the world. Despite his success, people who meet Magic often describe him as friendly, approachable, and remarkably down-to-earth. But the next player never forgot what it felt like to struggle. Before becoming an NBA champion, Giannis helped support his family by selling items on the streets of Greece. Those difficult years shaped his attitude toward money forever. Even after signing enormous contracts, Giannis continues to prioritize family over luxury and often speaks about gratitude instead of expensive possessions. His past reminds him that wealth can disappear, but character shouldn't. And that's a lesson the next player also believes. Chris Paul has earned hundreds of millions throughout his career, yet he's known for financial discipline rather than extravagant spending. He's encouraged younger players to save, invest wisely, and think about life after basketball instead of wasting money on short-lived luxury. For Chris Paul, building generational wealth has always been more important than impressing strangers. But our next player quietly became one of basketball's smartest investors. Kevin Durant could easily live one of the flashiest lifestyles in sports. Instead, much of his attention goes toward investing in technology companies and growing businesses. Friends often describe Durant as someone who cares far more about basketball and entrepreneurship than expensive status symbols. His goal isn't to look wealthy, it's to stay wealthy. And now we're entering the top 6. The remaining players aren't just NBA legends, they're among the richest basketball players ever. Yet several of them still live with the same humble mindset they had before becoming household names. Who takes the number 1 spot? You might not guess it. Stephen Curry has earned hundreds of millions through NBA contracts, endorsements, and business ventures. Yet those closest to him say he's never let success define who he is. Rather than constantly showing off expensive purchases, Curry focuses on his faith, his family, and giving back through charitable work. He has invested heavily in education, youth programs, and businesses that create opportunities beyond basketball. While he certainly enjoys the rewards of his success, he's never built his public image around luxury. His lifestyle proves that being wealthy doesn't mean you have to live extravagantly. But the next player learned one of the biggest financial lessons the hard way. Shaquille O'Neal wasn't always careful with money. Early in his NBA career, he admits he spent far too much, buying expensive items simply because he finally could. Everything changed after receiving advice from financial experts. Since then, Shaq has become one of basketball's smartest businessmen, investing in restaurants, franchises, real estate, and major companies. More importantly, he's constantly encouraging young athletes to avoid repeating his mistakes. He's also well known for quietly paying for strangers' purchases and helping families in need, proving that generosity often matters more than luxury. But the next legend has been humble from the very beginning. Nicknamed the Admiral, David Robinson earned an incredible fortune during his Hall of Fame career, but his reputation has always been built on discipline rather than extravagance. Instead of chasing attention with flashy purchases, Robinson dedicated much of his time to family, education, and philanthropy. Through the David Robinson Foundation and other charitable efforts, he's invested millions into helping children receive better educational opportunities. His greatest legacy isn't just what he accomplished on the basketball court. It's the lives he's helped improve away from it. And now we've reached the top 3. Russell Westbrook is famous for his bold fashion choices, leading many people to assume he lives an over-the-top lifestyle. But behind the cameras, his priorities are surprisingly different. Westbrook has invested in community projects, educational programs, and organizations that support underserved families. Friends and teammates often describe him as fiercely loyal to those closest to him, placing family and community above material possessions. His wealth isn't just reflected in what he owns. It's reflected in what he's willing to give back. Only 2 players remain, and one of them became the first NBA billionaire. Michael Jordan transformed basketball greatness into one of the largest fortunes in sports history. Although he enjoys the rewards of his success, Jordan has spent decades focusing on business growth instead of constantly showing off luxury. His ownership ventures, investments, and the Jordan brand built wealth that continues to grow long after his final NBA game. Those close to him often say he's intensely focused on business, competition, and building lasting success, rather than seeking public attention for expensive purchases. Which brings us to the player who perfectly represents this entire list. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is one of the most accomplished players basketball has ever seen. But his life after retirement tells an even more remarkable story. Rather than chasing a glamorous celebrity lifestyle, Kareem devoted himself to writing books, promoting education, speaking on important social issues, and inspiring younger generations. His influence has reached far beyond basketball because he chose purpose over prestige. For Kareem, real success was never about owning the most, it was about contributing the most. Real wealth is not about showing everyone what you have. It's about staying true to yourself, no matter how much money you make.